Good morning and Shavua Tov. This week's Torah portion discusses the laws of the sabbatical year and the Jubilee year. The Torah says, count 7 years, and the 7th year shall be a year of rest, Shemitah, sabbatical year. And then count 7 cycles of 7, and when you get to 49, blast the shofar, and the 50th year shall be the Jubilee year. We all know the famous verse on the Liberty Bell, proclaim freedom throughout the land for all its inhabitants. This is the verse of this week's Torah portion describing the Jubilee year. Why was this a year proclaiming freedom throughout the land? Because in biblical times, when you sold a piece of land, it was on a 50-year contract. The Torah says that in the 50th year, the Jubilee year, all lands revert to their original owners. So the Torah wants to make sure that if a person lost their land due to poverty, they could regain it and have a new start after the Jubilee year. In addition to that, the Torah says you should emancipate all slaves, all servants in the Jubilee year. But the question is, why do we blow the shofar in the Jubilee year? And the Chinuch, who is a commentary that explains the reason for the commandments, says that it's very difficult for a landowner or a master to free his servants and to relinquish all his land. And by blowing the shofar, it reminds everyone that you're not doing it alone. Everyone is doing it together. Everyone is relinquishing and setting their servants free and giving back their land that they acquired. And therefore makes it easier for the owner to do that. And this teaches us a very powerful lesson. We are all social beings. And we are all influenced by others. And knowing that others are doing what we're doing makes it easier for us to do it. And that's why, just like there's negative peer pressure, there's positive peer pressure. When we surround ourselves with people who are doing the right thing, who are generous and humble and righteous and have integrity and loyalty, people who are selfless, that inspires us to be that way as well, because we know we're not alone. Today's day and age, there's so many influences. We even have people who are called influencers, and we have to realize that everyone is influenced and everyone could be an influencer. Something remarkable happened this past week in Toronto. There was a Jew, his name is Armin Cohn. He was born in 1926. He's 96 years old. And he was born in Ukraine when it was under communist rule. And when he was 16 years old, when the Nazis invaded Ukraine, he fought as a partisan in the forest against the Nazis. And then when he fought for 1942, 1943, and then in 1944, he joined the Red Army in World War II to defeat the Nazis. He joined the Air Force. And in 1944, he was shot down by the Germans. And he was captured and he was taken to a Nazi camp as a POW, and he was there until he was released at the end of World War II. Ultimately, he made his way to Toronto. He immigrated after the war, and in recent years, he became connected to the local Jewish community, to the Jewish Community Center, the Russian Jewish Center in Toronto, under the leadership of Rabbi Zaltzman. And he started to learn Torah and observe mitzvot and celebrate Shabbat, things he never did as a child, because under communism, he was never taught any of this. Well, a week ago, Rabbi Zaltzman's son had a baby, and the Brit Milah, the circumcision, was scheduled for this past Thursday morning. And Mr. Armin Cohn, 96-year-old Jew, Mr. Armin Cohn, came to Rabbi Zaltzman, and he said, Rabbi, when I was a baby, I was never given a circumcision, a Brit Milah. I'm 96 years old. I see your grandson is going to be having a Brit Milah. I would also like to have a circumcision. Rabbi Zaltzman said, that would be wonderful, but first you have to go see your doctor and ask him if you're fit enough. And so he went to see his doctor, and his doctor said, yes, you are fit enough and strong enough to have the circumcision. And this past Thursday, at the age of 96, Mr. Armin Cohn came to the Russian Jewish Center wearing his full uniform from the Russian army with all of his medals and his beret with his medals on it. And together with an 8-day-old baby, they both had circumcisions, a 96-year-old man and an 8-day-old baby. And when it came to his naming after the Brit Milah, they asked him, which Hebrew name would you like? And he said, I would like to choose the name Abraham, after the first Jew, Abraham, who 3,736 years ago had a circumcision at the age of 99 years old. And since Abraham, 3,700 years ago, there was probably never a Jew as old as Abraham, as Armin Cohen, who had a circumcision at 96 years old. And this story teaches you that you're never too old to do a mitzvah, and you're never too young to influence someone else. It was the inspiration of this 8-year-old baby that inspired this 96-year-old man to have a circumcision. Have a wonderful day.